I think literature is a very particular, very special, very good form of study. Whether it's always presented in those terms at school, I'm not sure. There's a big difference, I think, between what you do in English at school and what you do at university. I think you'd find it both more challenging and more interesting and telling you a great deal more about humanity at large than maybe English at university does. It's much more focused. If you did a Shakespeare play, maybe at a local high school round about here, chances are you maybe saw a movie, talked about it a little bit, maybe did a little essay in which you pretended to be one of the characters. I think you'll find that when you do English at JCU, it's much more probing, it's much more ambitious. It regards works of literature as kind of portals into the past, into history, but also into human psychology, into human motivation. That's how we tend to operate, that's how we tend to work. So this becomes, I think, much more challenging, but much more interesting too. And it gives us a form of knowledge in a very special way, because these are things that were designed to give pleasure. These are things designed to be interesting, whereas some books of history or books of psychology are not terribly interesting. This gives us a way, a means of access to history and psychology, I think in particular, and the history of ideas and philosophy in a beautiful package, in a package that we can all read, that is designed for our entertainment and for our pleasure. So that makes English, I think, a particularly beautiful, very fertile form of study. We need to inspire people to feel this is a form of study that they can make their own, and it has to come from students. They have to pick themselves up and decide what they want to do, where their enthusiasms lie, and they need to meet staff and work with staff who are enthusiastic too. If you're doing subjects in accountancy or something like that, you know exactly what you're doing and what you've got to do by the end of the semester, as it were. But with us, what we're learning in English class is how to think, how to talk, how to communicate, much more so that the material you're studying is like an excuse for that. It's learning to talk and communicate and think. That's what's going on there. And that has to be done in a special atmosphere, I think. It's got to be very egalitarian, very frank. And indeed, yeah, you've got to breed enthusiasm. Probably of all the programs, arts programs at JCU, English is one of the largest and most diverse. We've got a lot of teachers on both campuses. We work a lot together through both campuses, so we offer a particularly large spread of English subjects, and we can keep them all going by rotating them every few years or something like that, so that you can follow British literature, which is my speciality, all the way from Shakespeare right up to the present day. But you can also do Australian literature, American literature, post-colonial literature, children's literature. It's a very, very broad thing. If there's something you particularly want to do, then just keep an eye on it. Wait for that subject to come round. It may not be on offer every year, but you'll be able to do it in the 3 years you do the programme with us.